I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Coralville City Council to order. It's February 25th, 2025. Could I have the roll call, please?
Knutson, Vogelzang.
Here.
Hoon.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Goodrich.
Here.
All council members except Knutson are present, as is the mayor, the city clerk, the city attorney, the city administrator, and several other staff in the audience. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Nguyen. Could I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The agenda is approved. On to the next item. I have a proclamation here for Women's History Month and International Women's Day. Whereas March 8th is observed around the world as International Women's Day to celebrate women's achievements, raise awareness about discrimination, and take action to promote gender parity. And whereas the United States has, since 1989, formally recognized March as Women's History Month. And whereas the United Nations has promoted the advancement of women throughout its 80-year history. And whereas many individuals and organizations in this community are working to ensure equity for women and girls. And whereas the Johnson County United Nations Association and over 20 local businesses, nonprofit organizations, and University of Iowa entities are sponsoring Night of 1,000 Dinners, a community celebration of International Women's Day on Thursday, March 6th, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Unitarian Universalist Society in Coralville to recognize women-led groups and initiatives advancing UN Sustainable Development Goal number 3, good health and well-being. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Megan Foster, Mayor of the City of Coralville, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Women's History Month and March 8th, 2025 as International Women's Day in Coralville, and urge all residents to recall the achievements of women and recommit to the goal of full gender parity. Signed on this 25th day of February, Megan Foster, Mayor. Okay, and I do believe we have someone here to receive this proclamation. Would you like to step up to the microphone and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Bijou Maliabo, and I'm a member of the Johnson County UNA, also with my colleague Jim Olson is here with me. Good evening, Mayor and a member of the Coralville City Council. On behalf of the Johnson County United Nations Association, JCUNA, I extend our heartfelt gratitude for the proclamation recognizing the Night of 1,000 Dinner. We deeply appreciate your support and are honored to have your acknowledgement. We are excited to invite you to join us on Thursday, March 6th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Unitarian Universalist Society in Coralville for this special event. The dinner will be celebrating the International Women's Day, where we will honor 3 remarkable women-led organizations advancing the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 3, good health and well-being. Those organizations are the Free Medical and Dental Clinic, Prairie Lands Freedom Fund, and Healthy Start for Refugee Children. The evening will feature an international buffet dinner prepared by Kojo African Delight, offering a taste of African cuisine from Togo. There will also be entertainment. In addition, I'm asking you to remember the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and lend your voice to end the ongoing conflict that has been plaguing the country since 1998, over 25 years. The Congo vast and rich mineral resource, including cobalt, tin, copper, gold, and diamond, play a significant role in the global economy. It is vital to support the Congolese people, particularly women and children, in their ongoing struggle for peace and prosperity as they continue to endure the harmful effect of prolonged conflict. The war in Congo has gone so far too long, and it's time for it to end. The people of Congo deserve the health and well-being outlined in the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 3. As we celebrate International Women's Days and the Night of a Thousand Dinner, we are called to action. This is not only time for celebration, but for advocacy. For all of us to come together and speak up for peace through good health and well-being around the world. Whether in Iowa, in Congo, or anywhere else, we are reminded that the United Nations stand for shared hope of peace, dignity, and equality for all people. Let this evening serve as a reminder that we are all interconnected and we each have a responsibility to advance this goal for everyone, everywhere. Together we can create a world where health and well-being are universal and where peace prevails for the generation to come. Thank you again for your support, and we look forward to seeing you on March 6th. Let us stand together, advocate for peace, and make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Would you like to take a photo? Yes. Okay, on to the next agenda item. We have community comments. This is a time for community members to speak to us about items that aren't on the agenda or items that are on the agenda but are not subject to a public hearing. Each speaker will have 5 minutes, and we do reserve the right to adjust both the overall comment period as well as the individual speaking time based on the number of speakers or any accommodations that a speaker might need. So is there anyone that would like to address us this evening? Yes, come on up to the microphone.
Madam Mayor and Coralville City Council members, again, I would like to introduce myself. I am Katie Freeman. I am a resident of Coralville along with my spouse and children. I come before you today to let you know that I am still waiting on a response from my question asked during the last council meeting on February 11th, 2025. In case you forgot, I will happily ask again, what are you doing to protect your transgender citizens in the city of Coralville? Yesterday, I went to the state capitol in Des Moines to add my voice to the many voices that are opposing House Bill HSB 242. This is the Iowa Civil Rights Removal Act. This bill removes gender identity from the Iowa Civil Rights Act, amongst other things. There were hundreds of Iowans there, lifting our voices in opposition to the removal of civil rights. Unfortunately, this bill has been fast-tracked and is now ready for debate on Thursday as HF 583. If this goes through, Iowa will become the first state in the union to remove a protected group from its state Civil Rights Act. This is not what Iowans want to be number one in. Pretty sure it's football. With all the people who were there making their voices heard in opposition and making public comments on all of the committee bills, it seems to me that the moment is now for city governments to also speak up and let those in Des Moines know that Iowans do not want this, any of this. As I stand before you right now on Tuesday, February 25th, 2025, gender identity is still a protected class under the Iowa Civil Rights Act. as well as within Coralville's own human rights ordinance. Now is the time to be brave. Stand up and act for what your own constituents want. Help stop the removal of civil rights and protect your citizens. This moment will be remembered in history. So again, I ask, what are you going to do to protect your trans citizens? I look forward to speaking with each one of you to hear your answer.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address us this evening? Yeah, come on up to the microphone.
Oh, geez. Sorry, I'm a little taller. Good evening, everybody. Madam Mayor, City Council. I was coming to talk about the youth sports complex improvements, and Thor reminded me that this evening is more regarding some of the financial components of that. So I will move my remarks to just the general remarks section. So we live on Dempster Drive on the north end, right near, we're 2415. And we love having the parks and the trails and everything close by. It's really nice. We do request that the city council and staff members consider possibly a new playground. We jokingly refer to that playground as the prison yard. It doesn't have a lot of things for the kids to do, and bringing in a lot of people from out of town. It's kind of a showcase for our community. So I'd encourage some improvement on that playground. We're excited about the expansion. Though the other thing about the expansion is, as it currently sits, traffic on the weekends are pretty crazy on Dempster Drive. I don't know if it's Google or what maps route people off the interstate down 965. They take University Parkway over, and then they take Dempster up through the neighborhood. And we observe a lot of speeding and distracted drivers, people running late to the ball tournaments, and that's part of it, living close by there. But we've expressed our concerns to the police department. And they usually will send somebody out to kind of patrol off and on, but it's never at the start of the tournament or at the end of the day. So they kind of miss the speeders. We've had speed traps there before, which kind of help deter, but it can be a little bit dicey there. So with the expansion and all the new people who would be attending that, I think some speed mitigation or something needs to be looked at with the expansion. The last thing I'll leave you with is the intersection of 12th Avenue and Forever Green. So our kids go to Van Allen. Part of the reason they're here is to see how city government works too, but they go to Van Allen and they walk to school or bike to school a decent amount of time. And so we're on Dempster, so we are on the west side of 12th Avenue. You head up to the roundabout and you have to cross that roundabout at Forever Green. And if you're heading east in the morning time, down 12th, you have the sun shining in your face, so sometimes you might miss some kids nearby there. And if you're going west, you have the big land berm with the pine trees there that also block visibility. So as you guys are planning and considering the extension for Evergreen all the way out to Liberty High, we just ask that an extra look be taken at some mitigation risk there as far as protecting the students who are crossing to go to North Central or crossing to get up to Van Allen. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to address us this evening? Come on up to the mic.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you for your service to the City of Coralville as public servants. My name is Patrick Hansen, and I'm just here to speak in support of my friend Katie. I think it's important for those in the trans community and across the diversity that is Iowa to know that they have support from straight white guys like me. But beyond that, I don't own property in the city of Coralville. I don't live in the city of Coralville, but I almost did. I came this close last summer. I was looking at investment property, and I made an offer on it. I was very excited about it, and I didn't end up getting it. And so I'm sorry, but I invested in Iowa City instead. But my first choice was Coralville. There's a lot of good stuff happening here. It's a great investment climate. It's a great real estate environment to own and to be a part of. And so I was excited about that, and we'll look to maybe some of those opportunities in the future. But you all, as community leaders, are now facing a bigger challenge that the state is dropping in your laps that nobody asked for, you didn't ask for, we, Iowa families, didn't ask for. The kind of cultural war that is going to be at your doorstep and at all of our doorsteps for the coming years. I say this as the dad of a gay woman. My daughter is a teenager, and she's working through this. And I just beg our public servants, our government, to give our kids the freedom to figure it out. Give our families the freedom to figure it out. Let us enjoy that freedom. Let us defend those freedoms, those civil rights that we have enshrined today and that we stand on the precipice of losing tomorrow. So please, I know I see in your nodding and in your demeanor that you are hearing this, that you are listening. And I know that those who are looking to be affirmed for who they are and where they are and that they're okay and safe here among us, that we do more than just hear and that we find ways to act. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Is there anyone else that would like to address us this evening? Okay. With that, we will move on to the next agenda item, the Rotary-Kerber HeartSafe Community Campaign presentation. So we have some guests with us this evening. We have Fiona Johnson from Johnson County and Jim Merchant. And this is a program or a presentation that we are sharing this evening because, number one, February is Heart Month. I did a proclamation last week, at our last meeting for Heart Month. And, we also, earlier this month, had a ceremony here where with some of our law enforcement officers, some public safety folks, because the life of a young woman was saved because of this type of program. So I'm really looking forward to hearing a little bit more about that and having the community hear a little bit more about what you do and how this program works. Right?
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mayor Foster and councilors. And Kelly, just to reiterate what I said 2 weeks ago when I was here, to thank Coralville very much for the support that then Mayor Lundell and City of Coralville gave to us as we began the campaign. And we're now at the 5-year point, so we thought it was perhaps a good time to come and give an update to Coralville, Iowa City, North Liberty. And we did already do it for the Board of Supervisors. We've been fortunate to enjoy tremendous support from government, the county, city government. We're also blessed, and I think you all need to know this. We have a terrific leader in Fiona Johnson as director of the Johnson County Ambulance Service. We have tremendous skill and dedication in our police and fire, who all have AEDs on their vehicles, all respond to these. And as a result, with this campaign that has raised now about $240,000 from volunteers to buy AEDs, to do training. We've done hundreds of trainings over the last 5 years. We've made progress, and Fiona will give you a slideshow to give you some of the specifics. Now we are moving on to the next 5 years. We are seeking and will formalize our partnership with the Johnson County Ambulance Service. It's always been informal, but it's going to be formalized here probably in another month. And we are going to do some things that we haven't done, and that is to really try to engage the public to join the campaign. Now we're doing something to that end. We're donating mannequins and AED trainers to each of the public libraries, North Liberty, Coralville, and Iowa City. So people can check out this training equipment so they can use it for their scout troop, or they can use it for their club, or they can use it for their family. But we really want to improve CPR training in Johnson County. Our aim is to have this county as the safest, or certainly one of the safest places in the country to suffer a sudden cardiac arrest. We made progress, but we have work to do. We are going to, and we have already engaged in internet advertising to encourage people to do CPR and get the PulsePoint app. Fiona will talk about that, the importance of this electronic messaging system to get people to the side of victims who have suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. And then we're going to engage in TV advertising. And the goal there is to really get the public engaged, join the campaign, and learn CPR. We have over 4,000 CPR trained individuals that have PulsePoint app that are willing to respond to a sudden cardiac arrest. We have over 500 AEDs out there in the county, but we know this is not enough. Where is this going? It's not going to happen in the next 5 years, but what we need to do is to develop a much denser network of AEDs. To that end, we developed some AED guidelines. Fiona will talk about it. We presented this to the Board of Supervisors. These are not regulations. These are just our advice, public health advice. But we think this will encourage the public to identify a restaurant, perhaps, or a car dealership or a grocery store that doesn't have an AED, and encourage the manager to get one. And where this is going, and this is happening already, is very small AEDs in Australia that are small enough and cheap enough to be sold for private home use. We know that 70% of sudden cardiac arrests occur in the home, and obviously a lot of them do not get saved because there isn't an AED, and perhaps response isn't soon enough. So where we want to go as a field, as a field of emergency medicine, cardiology, public health, is to get a AED in every home, and to have every home treat doing CPR like learning how to swim. This is a life skill. So that's where we need to go. Fiona will give you an update on what we've done in the last 5 years.
Hi, everybody. Fiona Johnson, Ambulance Director. It's kind of fun to sit up here with you all. All right, let me get this launched here. Okay. So thank you all for allowing us to come and see you. I think this is the third time I've seen you in the last month, so it's been wonderful reasons to come talk with you all. And Jim, thank you very much for all your kind words. We've had so much fun working together, and we're super excited to share with you our ongoing initiatives. So again, we're just going to talk about Rotary-Kerber's initiatives in collaboration with Johnson County Ambulance, our email survey, our AED cost sharing program, public education, library collaboration, and action items for moving forward. So heart disease is the #1 killer in the United States. 700,000 people die annually from heart disease. So we know that that's a problem. Then you take into consideration that 436,000 lives are lost to sudden cardiac arrest. So something clearly has to be done. Obviously, there's a global, thing that can be done. We can help improve nutrition and exercise and general wellness, and that is the long-term goal. But there are some things that we can do in real time for sudden cardiac arrest. And so those are the things that we're going to be talking about today. The thing about sudden cardiac arrest that people need to be aware of is how time critical it is. You can go from a perfusing rhythm to a non-perfusing rhythm in just a matter of minutes. So when they say, you know, they've gone flatline, that's where we're talking about a non-perfusing rhythm, asystole. Your heart is no longer acting as a pump circulating blood for your body. And so that's why we need people to be doing CPR, because your heart is no longer acting as that pump. And so this is a time-critical emergency. With every minute that goes by when a person is in sudden cardiac arrest, if nobody is performing CPR or using an AED, your chance of survival decreases by 10%. So I love our ambulance service, our first responders, law enforcement. We are a wonderful collaborative team, but we can't get there fast enough. If nobody does CPR and first responders can't get there for 6 minutes, a person's chance of survival right off the bat has decreased by 60%. That's a problem, and we can do something about that. But the good news is that research shows that communities that have aggressive community campaigns that really focus on bystander CPR and the use of AED in a dense AED network, those communities can have survival statistics upwards of 60%. So that's our goal. That's what we're striving for. And this is where the Rotary-Kerber really comes into play. The Rotary-Kerber HeartSafe Community Campaign was really founded based on the pioneer Dr. Dick Kerber. He had an amazing, legacy of cardiology and, his goal of improving survival statistics. And so this group of people that were impacted by Dr. Kerber came together, his wife, his colleagues, Dr. Diane Atkins is a pediatric cardiologist. She's part of this. Dr. Merchant, his wife, Dr. Linda Kerber, all these people came together to carry on his legacy. And so we were lucky enough at Johnson County Ambulance Service to start working with them 5 years ago when they were starting the work of getting grant funding for their AED cost sharing program. And really their mission to motivate lay providers, members of our community to learn CPR, to intervene with CPR and AED use. That aligns nicely with Johnson County Ambulance. We're all working towards the same thing. And so it really was a natural progression. So we've been focusing on really educating the community, because I think a lot of people don't realize that this chain of survival behind me, the first three links are intended to be complete by members of the community. So that is all of you. You all are meant to do those first 3 links before we even get there. And if you don't know that, then we're falling down on the job and we're missing an opportunity. And so that's why we're educating. We're letting the community know that we need you to be able to recognize an emergency, to activate 911, and then to be able to provide that life-saving skill of CPR and the use of an AED. So that's what we're doing. We're talking about the chain of survival. Part of that was becoming a HeartSafe community. And so I know many of you are aware, and for any of you that might not, we are the 4th HeartSafe community in the nation. This is a big deal. This is something for us to be proud of here in Johnson County. And it means that we have met 13 critical criteria to be a HeartSafe community. It means that our law enforcement, our first responders all have AEDs in their squad cars. Our 911 dispatchers are medically trained, and so they can give you CPR instruction when you call saying that you've got an emergency. Our schools have emergency action plans for cardiac emergency. Our ambulance service has aggressive resuscitation protocols, and we have a public notification tool. This public notification tool is PulsePoint. It is free to download. It comes in multiple languages, and basically it will notify users when somebody is in cardiac arrest in your vicinity. It will only notify you for public arrest, like cardiac arrest occurring in the public setting, but it'll notify you, and it will give you that notification so then you can go provide that life-saving care. In addition to that, it's going to tell you where the closest AED is. So it'll say, this is where the person is that needs help, and this is where the closest AED. So it's really, truly a life-saving app. In Johnson County, we have wonderful resources. So we have plotted all of our cardiac arrests that occur in Johnson County onto a GIS map. We then have an AED registry. We're able to see that the AEDs are positioned in places that have the most likelihood to have benefit. Okay, and so that's wonderful. We've got 527 AEDs in Johnson County. That is a staggeringly wonderful number. However, when we had this PulsePoint AED registry, we noticed that the majority of these AEDs were only available Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, which made it very inconvenient if you chose to have a sudden cardiac arrest at 6 o'clock in the Penn Mall. So our goal really as joint entities is to make sure that AEDs are available 24/7. And so through our collaboration with Rotary-Kerber, we have placed over 40 24/7 AEDs in these 24/7 AED enclosures throughout Johnson County. Every city has gotten them. Johnson County has given suggestions for Iowa City, Coralville, and North Liberty on where to place them based on where your cardiac arrests occur in your community. And then with the smaller communities where we don't quite have as much data to support giving a suggested location, we say, put this where your community congregates. So an example would be Lone Tree said, our community congregates at our high school football games, and so they put it on the concession stand of their football field, which makes perfect sense. These enclosures are code access, so let's say you needed one, you're driving a loved one towards the hospital, you're on Highway 6, and your loved one goes unresponsive, you can call 911, and they'll say the closest AED is at this intersection, this is the code to get the AED, and now I'm going to give you CPR instructions. So it's really full stop shop. These are some of the locations where those 24/7 AEDs are located. As Jim mentioned, we have CPR mannequins and AED trainers at Coralville, Iowa City, and North Liberty Library. They have not released into circulation, so that celebration will come up soon, so please keep your ears out for when your library will be launching those into circulation. They'll also have CPR training materials in English, Spanish, French, Chinese, and Arabic. And then we've got ongoing community training. This is hands-only CPR training that we provide through the libraries. Then we also have it at the ambulance service, and we host events. We're at all of the Summer of the Arts events, so whether it's Jazz Fest or Arts Fest, if you want to have some hands-only CPR instruction, then we'll be there as well. Then the question is all this work actually benefiting our community? Is it paying off? And I'm thankfully able to say yes. We have improvement. We have always room to improve, but we are seeing the fruits of our labor. We're able to see that the national average for bystanders doing CPR is 41%. And then here in Johnson County, it's 71%. So that means 71% of the time, a bystander is willing to do CPR, and so that's great. In addition to that, we have AEDs used 12% on the national average, whereas here right now we're still pretty low. We're less than 1%, but that just means that we need more education. We need people to not be afraid of AEDs. We need to make sure that people are aware that that resource is out there and accessible for them to use. A lot of people are still afraid, thinking that they can't access an AED if they haven't been trained, but an AED will walk you through the entire process. You do not need any special training to operate an AED. And then lastly, the most important statistic is survival to discharge. So the national average survival to discharge for somebody experiencing a sudden cardiac arrest event is 9%. Here in Johnson County, we're just shy of 15%. So while it isn't 60%, we are definitely heading in the right direction. But that's where we need your help in regards to, pursuing the action items that I'm about to touch on next. So one would be simple, low-hanging fruit. Put this very short, micro-short American Heart Association video on your website. It is just teaching members of your community how to do hands-only CPR. It is user-friendly, super easy, and it's just getting that knowledge out to the community. In addition to that would be helping spread the word on PulsePoint. Encourage members of your community to download PulsePoint, make sure that they're enabling critical alerts, which means that it allows your phone to know where you're located. And that's because the app needs to know where you are in comparison to that person that needs CPR. So that's a vitally important part of that app. Second to lastly, visit the iowaheartsafe.org website. That is the Rotary-Kerber HeartSafe Community Campaign's website, and that's where you'll find information on the AED cost-sharing program. You're also welcome to visit the Johnson County website and then access the ambulance page. We've got training videos on there, PulsePoint videos on there, training opportunities, you name it, we've got it at the Johnson County ambulance page. And then the last portion is for you as a council. So in front of each of you is a copy of this letter. And so this is the letter that we have with the Johnson County Board of Supervisor letterhead on top. What we would love for you to do is to support us and to follow suit, to be able, allow us to be able to send out a letter with the Coralville letterhead at the top with your signature on the bottom saying that you endorse this message. And it basically is just explaining the things that I've just covered here today, who the Rotary-Kerber is, what our initiatives have been, what we're striving for. And then embedded in this is an e-survey. It is a less than 1 minute survey that will go out to local businesses, anybody that you're willing to send it out to. And it basically is asking them, do you have an AED in your business? Would you like one? Here's the information for our AED cost sharing program. If you do have one, is it on our AED registry? And if it's not, can we get the contact information so we can get that information so we can put that AED in our registry? And then lastly, are you interested in CPR? Because Johnson County Ambulance Service would love to provide that training opportunity. So it's a micro short survey. We just need to get that out to as many people as possible. And we're looking for your support on that. The only other thing that I haven't mentioned on the back of that survey are recommendations for where AEDs should go in our community. And it's common sense. It's places that our community members congregate. So whether that is a school, a government building, healthcare facilities, you want to make sure that your gym has an AED, your kid's school, that when you go to the mall, when you go to the library, you want all of these places to have an AED because you want to make sure that that AED is accessible within 2 minutes of that cardiac arrest event. So I'm happy to take any questions that you might have, and I thank you very much for allowing us to come talk with you about our fabulous initiatives.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Have you tried to incorporate AED or CPR instructions in the school system?
So it is Iowa State code law that school
law.
that
State
you have
law.
to learn CPR in school.
State law.
State law. So that they have to learn CPR in school. The concern is that, you know, it happens early. Maybe they don't have a refresher. Last year with Solon Community School District, right after school let out, we met with their entire staff and had a CPR stop the bleed training session. So I would love to be able to get to be part of, you know, school district here in Coralville to be able to provide similar training as well.
Excellent. Thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments?
If I may,
Yeah.
make a couple comments as an old guy who is back in the early '80s when mutual aid was really taking hold. I taught CPR to the old-fashioned CPR, where we actually did mouth-to-mouth back in the old days. This is something I'm very passionate about, and I support what you're doing 1,000%. The Pulse Point app is very easy to download, but the follow-up part is you also need to learn CPR and how to do it. I went down to the ambulance. I met with Fiona last week and witnessed the hands-only CPR. There was muscle memory that did come back. But again, I encourage everybody to do it. I was there for less than an hour, right? She also went over how the AEDs, which are, the technology is incredible. You don't need a lot of experience or any experience to be able to do that. It talks to you and tells you exactly what to do, shows you where to put the patches, tells you what to do, and it basically operates it by itself. And I understand the adrenaline rush. I get that. I understand that. But it's people need to get past that and understand the value of saving a life. The value of saving a life far supersedes the whatever the dollar investment is in an AED. What is it, $2,000 or
It's
$3,000?
a $2,000 package for like to be able to purchase an AED, but with our AED cost sharing program, for a nonprofit, it's $500. And then for larger companies, based on how many employees you've got, it's anywhere from $650 to $1,000. So right off the bat, it's a minimum of 50% discount from what it would normally cost. So it's a wonderful deal, and it comes with training.
Yeah. So and the method of CPR is so simple anymore. 1,000%, I would encourage Coralville to put this letter on our letterhead and send it out to everybody in our city, as far as I'm concerned. So I totally support this program.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Do we have any other comments or questions about the program? Thoughts? All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you for coming and sharing that information with us. Very important. And I do have the Pulse Point app downloaded on my phone, so would encourage folks to do the same as well. Okay, on to our next agenda item. We have a public hearing for the Well 16 improvements. So this loan agreement will finance the Well 16 improvements through a state revolving fund loan. So I'll open the public hearing on this item. Is there anyone that would like to address us on this? And do we have any written comments?
No written.
Okay. I'll close the public hearing and we will consider the resolution.
Resolution to take an additional action and proposal to enter into one or more water revenue loan agreements. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelsang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Wynn. Any questions or comments on this item? Okay. Could I have the roll call, please?
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Kuhn.
Aye.
Peterson. Aye. Goodrich. Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have a public hearing for our youth sports park improvements. This amendment will add the Coralville Youth Sports Park Improvements Project to the urban renewal plan for that Coralville urban renewal area. And we will start with a consultation report from our Parks and Rec Director, or?
No, that's me.
From you, okay. Take it away.
Yes, as required by Chapter 403, we did send notice of this amendment directly to the Johnson County Board of Supervisors and the Superintendent of the Iowa City Community School District. And we had a date for consultation being February 10th of 2025, and we did not get any comments or anybody to attend that consultation.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, so next I'll open the public hearing on this item. Is there anyone that would like to speak to us on this? Do we have any written comments?
No written.
Okay, close the public hearing, and we will consider the first resolution.
Resolution approving amendment number 12 to the Coralville Urban Renewal Plan for the Coralville Urban Renewal Area. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Wynn, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Any questions or discussion on this item? Do you have anything to share with us, Sherry?
Are we on, sorry,
I was reading ahead
On
too.
D?
I was reading.
are we on D?
No, not
No,
yet.
we're on C.
Oh, no.
So no, okay.
No.
So you're here for D.
I'm here for D,
For D.
sorry.
Okay, good enough, good enough, because we do have two of them. Okay. Any questions or discussion on C? Okay, could I have the roll call, please?
Kuhn. Aye. Peterson. Aye. Goodrich. Aye. Vogelsang.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. And now to the next part of this agenda item. We have action to approve the consulting services agreement with Confluence for these improvements. And this agreement would be for the design and the construction administration services. So how about we read the resolution, and then we'll have Sherry share her information with us.
Resolution approving a consultant services agreement with Confluence for the Coralville Youth Sports Park Phase 3 improvements. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Seconded by Wynn. Okay.
A picture always says more.
There you go,
And I was trying
yeah.
to get the plan back up for
There we
everybody of what we're doing here. Yeah. Thanks, Scott. This would move, we would be working with Confluence, who's the original designer of the youth sports park when we first did phase 1 in 2009, and also worked with us in 2016 for all of the trails and shelters when we did that. This would move the baseball diamond from St. Morrison Park, where it will be right up against a new or expanded recreation center. So this will move that out, make more park space, bring the baseball diamond here into this park system per the master plan, and that's this diamond here. That's a full-size 375-foot baseball diamond. And then it would also build an additional 250-foot multi-purpose diamond, and that's the same size as the other 5 fields that we have at the complex. It would also do a trail all the way through. It does leave for future connection to a possible future road here, and would do some drop-off spots as well as some grass parking areas there in the future. So this agreement is for a total of $248,300, and it will we will start on design development and get that done in the month of March. Looking at doing construction documents through the month of April with a May bid, and working towards a June through September. We're trying to really hit that first growing season by having grass down by early September, so we can start growing grass on those fields. We'll take 3 growing seasons to get these diamonds ready, and hoping to start by limited play in fall of 26, but really spring of 27 would be when these would come into play.
Excellent. All right, thank you for that overview. Does anyone have any questions for Sherry? I think it looks pretty good. All right. Could I have the roll call, please?
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich. Aye. Vogelzang.
Aye.
Kuhn. Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have bonds. These bonds would finance infrastructure and other costs associated with the Highway 6 and Deer Creek Road improvements, the Forever Green Road improvements, the Camp Cardinal Boulevard and Kennedy Parkway improvements. And the public hearing for this will be on March 11th, 2025. Could I have the resolution, please?
Resolution to fix a date for public hearing on general obligation essential corporate purpose loan agreements. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Vogelzang. Any questions or discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Goodrich. Aye. Vogelzang.
Aye.
Kuhn. Aye. Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have some amendments to Chapter 165, the Coralville Zoning Code, and these amendments to the zoning code are based on observed needs by our Community Development Director, and this would be, again, the third and final reading of this ordinance. Could I have the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 2025-1002, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coralville as previously amended, making changes to Chapter 165, the Coralville Zoning Code. This ordinance introduced for third and final consideration by Councilmember Vogelzang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Kuhn. Aye. Peterson. Aye. Goodrich. Aye.
Ordinance passes its third and final consideration, all ayes. Next item, Wells 9 and 10 standby generator improvements. This is for replacing the existing standby generator and automatic transfer switch located at the northeast corner of Holiday Road and 12th Avenue. This provides emergency power for wells 9 and 10. This would install a new variable frequency drive for well 10. And we'll start this agenda item off with the bid reports from our city engineer, Scott Larson.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So a week ago, we received 4 bids on this project.
high bid was $327,600, and the low bid was $269,132, and that low bid was from Acme Electric Company out of Cedar Rapids. The engineer's estimate on this project was $300,000, so the low bid was actually 10.85% below that estimate. So always happy to report that. So I do recommend awarding the project to Acme Electric Company in the amount of $269,132.
Excellent. Thank you for that overview. Okay, could I have the first resolution read, please?
Resolution accepting bids and awarding the contract for the wells 9 and 10 standby generator improvements. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Huynh, seconded by.
Seconded by Goodrich. Any questions or discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Kuhn. Aye. Peterson. Goodrich. Aye. Vogelzang.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. And could I have the second resolution read, please?
Resolution approving the contract and bond documents for the wells 9 and 10 standby generator improvements. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Seconded by Huynh. Any questions, comments, or discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Peterson. Aye. Goodrich. Aye. Vogelzang.
Aye.
Kuhn.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, drug and alcohol policy. This revised drug and alcohol policy changes the contact person in item 10 to our current human resource and risk manager, Lynn Knight, and it would also add a new job title to attachment A, covered positions. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving the revised City of Coralville drug and alcohol policy. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Huynh. Any questions or comments on this item? Okay. Roll call, please.
Goodrich. Aye. Vogelzang.
Aye.
Kuhn. Aye. Peterson.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. All right. We have another presentation this evening.
I'll go as fast as I can. For
Okay. No, really excited to hear this update from our Convention and Visitors Bureau. We have Josh Schaumburger here. We also have Nick Pfeiffer with us, and really looking forward to hearing an overview of all of the good work that you have been doing. So take it away.
All right. Well, thank you, Mayor and Council, for a little bit of time this evening. We did this a little over a year ago, and pleased to be back and just give you a recap of what 2024 looked like for our organization, Coralville, and the entirety of the community. This is a most recent photo. It was 2 weeks ago, and I don't think Extreme Arena has ever had more human beings in it than this right here, which was finals of Girls State Wrestling Tournament in Coralville, which marks the 5th year that that's taken place and 3rd year since it's been sanctioned. So we're honored to continue to be chosen. We just re-signed for another 5 years, so they will be around here along with volleyball, along with everything else for many more years. So just a couple history slides that I kept in. The last one I just wanted to retouch on again, just as a reminder. Our organization, the Iowa City Coralville Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, advances economic vitality and quality of life for residents and visitors as Iowa's premier destination. We were started in 1979, as most convention and visitors bureaus were around the country. We were a department of the Chamber of Commerce, because at our core we are economic development. We're short-term economic development because the people we touch or try to market to is here for a couple of years. We're trying to book business, and then they go home and say how great the community was. So but just like most organizations like ours, once the city passed a hotel motel tax referendum, we kind of grew up and became an adult and lived on our own in our own building. And that's how most convention and visitors bureaus, if not all of them, of which there are thousands and thousands across the country, started. And we are to this day funded through a pass-through, City of Coralville, through hotel motel tax collections. So visitor taxes, if you stay in a hotel room in this town, you pay an additional 7% hotel motel tax, and a portion of that Roughly 25% of the entire take is reinvested back into our organization for the purposes of sustaining and growing visitor tax expenditures here in the entire community. One thing that we added back in 2016 was the addition of the Iowa City Area Sports Commission, which is to credit for a lot of, like the previous slide, and a lot of other activities as it relates to sports that come to our community. They are officially a 501c3 in 2018 and operate underneath our organization, of which the mayor knows all of this because she's currently the treasurer of our board. Our total operating budget for FY25 was about $2.3 million. 46% of that is hotel motel tax, 19% from partnership sponsors program, and then the balance of 35% is events and activities we generate on our own through programming. This is a trend line over the last 10 years of hotel motel tax collections across the community. There are 4 jurisdictions in the community that actually have hotels and collect hotel motel tax. I would expect Tiffin in the next couple of years to get a hotel at some point and to start collecting hotel motel taxes. But as you can see, it's been a pretty steady trend line with the exception of obviously the year of COVID when hotels and rates dropped to about 10% for that year. The yellow on the bottom is University Heights, which is a little interesting because they continue to take market share from Iowa City and Coralville. So when you look at the entirety, they grow, but that hotel is a very strong brand run by arguably one of the better directors of sales in the market, and Kelly Murphy, and she cleans up on about everybody, whether you're in Iowa City or Coralville, and so University Heights property is doing well. Our current board chair is somebody you all know pretty well. He was a longtime member of this council, and we decided to keep him on the board after Mayor replaced him on our board, and primarily that's because we for some time have wanted to have a board representative and a liaison to the community school district. It's very important. We do a lot of activities with the school. Obviously, you'll see in a couple slides, we currently are home to 9 state tournaments for boys and girls, and we work with the schools quite a bit. This is the remainder of our board. I know you know quite a few of these people. Our incoming chair will be Jake Moore, who's the Market Coralville branch manager for Green State. He actually moved on. Now he's doing a little bit bigger job with credit cards, I think. The mayor, Brian Flynn, and Kelly Murphy round out our executive committee. We do have one representative of the county, although they're ex officio non-voting. They don't contribute, so but we do have that relationship just like the school district. It's important to keep that there. Coralville, probably more than any other city, very much knows our staff because you see and interact with them daily. I know Stacy Hausman on our team led the sesquicentennial celebrations and many other things that we're involved in here in Coralville, and specifically. I think the majority of our staff probably live in Coralville. So visitor impact, this is where some of the big numbers that you're like, whoa, that's a pretty big number, come in. But we do partner with the state, the Department of Revenue, and the Iowa Economic Development Authority and do an annual assessment of visitor expenditures throughout all counties in the state. And Johnson County remains in the top 3 in the state. We used to be like 6 or 7. Now we're in top 3, top 4 at worst. $684 million were spent in Johnson County by visitors in 2024. $99 million was spent in local and state taxes by those same visitors. And in our particular community, about $6 million across the entirety of all those 4 jurisdictions are collected in hotel motel tax, with Coralville being the largest recipient of hotel motel taxes at right around $3.5 million. For every $1 of hotel motel tax that we receive, this is the most important formula we calculate every year. We are confident, and we know we brought a return of $31.62 last year to Coralville and the community at large. And I brought this up in the last slide, and actually there's Stacy Hausman with one of the events that was the World Taxidermy, yes, that was held here in Coralville last year, and before that it was held in Salzburg, Austria. So it truly was an international piece of business. But again, how do we know that? We know that because we track every single business that we touch that we're involved in. And this slide up here that shows First Tech Challenge is one that we originally booked and got to this community, and they're going to be here this weekend. So it's a great robotic event that'll move in later this week and take place, I believe, primarily Friday and Saturday. But everything in the first column is Sports Commission. Everything in the second column is conferences and meetings and events. And we update that and change that frequently. And every single piece of business, we log their contracted hotel rates, their attendance, and pick up on hotel rooms. Our organization continues to be segmented by these 5 areas: individual and group leisure travel, conferences and meetings, amateur sports, special events, and overall quality of life. And we spend more and more time these days in quality of life and community betterment than we have maybe 10, 15 years ago. That was a result of our board going through some strategic planning about 4 or 5 years ago and making the determination that we needed to play a bigger role with intentional community engagement. Long are the days to where we were an organization that was solely focused on heads and beds and nothing else, a very narrow mission. Now we have obligations to engaging all aspects of community and playing other roles. And that was probably most notable during COVID when we were playing all sorts of roles for the community. And we appreciate doing that because we're obviously, as an organization, can be a little bit more nimble than some of our government partners. So in those 3 market segments, innovative sales and marketing, one of the biggest ones is conferences and meetings. And last year truly marked a bounce back year. It was the slowest market segment to return after COVID, but last year we saw record-breaking numbers and events that came to our community. We hosted 56 groups, just our organization. This is separate from what just the Hyatt is hosting or just the Graduate is hosting. They have their own groups that go on top of these. But we were directly involved with and touched and responsible for partnering on 56 groups that represented just over 80,000 people that came to town, and those 80,000 people spent just over $22 million while they were here this past year. In 2025 and in the future years, last year we attended 6 trade shows that represented 254 meetings with individual association planners and organizations. So far, to date, we have secured 36 future conferences and meetings. Amongst those 36, there'll be just over 47,000 visitors, 22,000, almost 23,000 room nights and future room nights, and about $19.6 million in future direct spending that will come into this community. Along other areas of innovative sales and marketing, we had a record year for digital marketing engagement, which is no surprise. I mean, everybody is doing that because obviously the world has changed dramatically. 10 years ago, you used to have to pick up a phone and get a magazine and call, where's the best restaurant? Now you can just talk to your phone and ask where the best restaurant is. So we have a lot higher engagement, and we're using analytics and AI platforms more and more to make sure that we continue to stay at the top of these search, and we're partnering with things like, I would never know what they were, but hummingbirds, which are like influencers. We just had 4 or 5 of them, I think, this past weekend, right, Nick, that came into town and spent the weekend and ate and drank and then just logged their visit to Iowa City and Coralville for all of their followers. So we're doing a lot more of those kind of things too. The second bucket is authentic placemaking, and some of the notable programs and accomplishments in this area. One of them is we continue to grow and expand our community grant program. So this column on the left, which you can kind of see, but I can print it at any time if you'd like it. This is a couple dozen organizations that receive direct funds from us through our community grant program of about $50,000 a year, and that is matched with some other hotel funds. That's one of our more significant investments into some of the placemaking. We took the lead, although we're here in Coralville, and Nick Pfeiffer did a phenomenal job on co-authoring the application, as he has in past areas, with City of North Liberty to secure a $900,000 grant for Centennial Park, which is a project that's very exciting and moving forward and added attraction to the overall community. Continue to play a strong role in Riverfront Crossings Park. I think all of you know all of the hair that has turned gray from me and Kelly over the years in growing and working through Iowa River Landing. So I continue to serve as the president of the ArenaCo Board of Directors and spend a lot of time helping Coralville in that area. And we most recently will be announcing it at the next month's meeting or the next one. We recently helped the city of University Heights with a multi-use trail system plan for all of the park acreage there they share with the regents near the kind of near the train tracks behind University Heights, just to the north of it. We also are very proud, Nick Pfeiffer's probably to credit more than anyone else, for the successful passage of the Johnson County Conservation Bond. Nick was our campaign manager. We spent an incredible amount of time and energy on this conservation bond. Obviously, Coralville knows it very well because Coralville has benefited greatly from it, its first passage in 2008, and we hope that will be the same thing this time around when $30 million is now being worked through Brad Friedoff and the Conservation Department for conservation efforts. So Pat Hyden and I chaired that campaign, and it was exciting and challenging at times, but it was great to see 78% of the community pass this, and this is one of the things we're most proud of from 2024. Third bucket relates to intentional community engagement, and this speaks to what I was talking about earlier about being more involved in community, even though we're funded primarily by visitors and serving this role. We are one of the co-founders and funders of Project Better Together, which morphed into Better Together 2030. I serve as that board's president. We are deeply involved in all of these pillars of Better Together 2030 vision, most notably in Pillar 1, which Nick and I helped chair, and that's Champions of the Natural Environment, which fed directly into conservation bond work. So we work on this almost as much as any other thing we do in our office, and supporting the community in areas that it's needed most within the resources and influence that we have in the community. One of the most visible ways of intentional community engagement was these Herkies that were all over town last year, which also was probably the biggest event of 2024. If we had to say there was one event. You all know this. I don't need to go into detail. There were 101 of them all over town. They were in the Coralville parade. There was 4 or 5 of them that made their appearance there. You still own a bunch of them. But we were super proud of all the activity and the thousands and thousands that came to our community and went all over town to check them off their lists, particularly the families. Besides visitors, it was a terrific quality of life opportunity. And then in the end, we donated the proceeds of just over $95,000 to the school districts of Iowa City, Clear Creek, Amana, and Solon. So very pleased that event was such a big success. And also, I don't know that I'll be in this job in 10 years from now. So that was my last Turkey Yarn Parade. Nick Pfeiffer and others can take it over in 2034. And just a few notes on the Sports Commission. Obviously I mentioned that. That's a big part of our operation. Very, very visible. We have a huge event tomorrow night. We're helping put on in Coralville, a nationally recognized wrestling event that'll be at the arena. We continue to lead, underwrite, and fund all of the Bike Iowa City initiatives. We independently contract with a few people to manage that, one of them being Liz Hubing. Alex Buhmeyer, who's a proud City of Coralville employee, is one of our most favorite ambassadors for that effort, in addition to all the work he's doing to grow cycling in the community with Core 4 and many other things. So we continue to grow cycling and trails and fund I-Core and all sorts of things as best and as much as we're able to do so. As I mentioned, we're home to now 9 girls and high school boys state tournaments. I will be honest, we've had more and more people questioning that around the state, but it is what it is. Our team does a phenomenal job. We create an experience we'd like to think unlike anywhere else in the state, to where high school girls and boys can come in here and have a championship experience like they wouldn't have anywhere else. And we go a little overboard at times. You've been to the Iowa River Landing when it's all pink Well, this November, after it's pink, we're going to pack up all the pink, and that exact next week, we're going to decorate downtown Iowa City because we were recently awarded the Girls State Swimming and Diving Championships for the next 5 years. So, we definitely have caught the attention of some folks across the state who maybe think we're have too much here going, but we're never going to tell our team to not be aggressive and do the best job they can. And they're obviously paying dividends with the work that they do. One of the most important programs that we do is we run the Regional Sports Authority District Grant. We work hard to compete and win a $70,000 grant every year from the state, from Economic Development Authority. And then we spread that out across a number of smaller organizations, everything from archery to swimming to disc golf. That happen all across Coralville, Iowa City, and many other areas. This is one of the funds that goes to that is the Midwinter Special Olympics tournament that happens at Green State Family Fieldhouse. We got next is our official website for that and some of the other notable wins that will be coming in the future that they successfully won in 2024. Includes a huge event that's actually happening next month. We have over 100 basketball teams coming from all over the country for the Iowa Middle School Basketball Championships. They're using every court in town, as far as I know, for 2 days. At the exact same time, we have a huge dance event we booked that will be taking place at Hampshire. So it'll be a hectic weekend in March. We secured the 2025 3A and 4A state golf championships for the girls. That will be here. As I mentioned, we just secured swimming and diving. Sports Commission secured the 26th Summit League Men's and Women's Diving Championships. They will return. We just hosted them last week, all the universities from that conference. And I'm super proud of them because we're in Big Ten country and we're Big Ten conference, and they're selling the facilities to the Summit League and MVC League to come in here and have their championships in a Hawkeye facility. 26 MVC's Women's Basketball Championships will take place here. So Drake, you and I, and the Women's Championships will take place in the arena. MVC Swimming and Diving as well. That conference will have their swimming championship. And then it's asterisked because it's waiting on some state support and funding, but we have been told that we would be successful if we are interested in hosting the 26th Senior Pan American Games for wrestling, which would be a huge event attracting all the countries of North and South America to come here and wrestle next May. Last slide, before I have a little thank you slide and answer any questions you have and see if Nick says I missed anything. We do have our annual report, but this is other areas we get involved in and play with, and I thought it was important to keep this slide. You know, we're deeply involved in the funding of public art, of air, rail, transportation issues, anything that's going to involve or impact our quality of life, our community betterment. You'll find us having a seat at the table and trying to move forward. And there's a lot of these areas that we spend a lot of time and energy, and we're super proud to do that. As I open it up to questions, we are waiting on the printer. We just polished off our final annual report from 2024. So Nick will pass that out. We did it in like a newspaper format, an old newspaper format. So I would encourage you to take time to read every word in the annual report and then reach out to Nick or me or Nick Kading or Stacy, anybody you know best, and we'll be happy to answer questions. And as always, if there's more we can do for the city of Coralville, you know how to get a hold of me, and if not, the mayor and our board will tell me what to do. So we'll be good. Happy to answer any questions.
All right.
Went as fast as I could, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions for
Great
Josh?
job. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rich.
Any other questions or comments?
No question,
Do you have
but
any
yeah,
spare time?
We got a great team, so I get a lot of credit, but Nick and Luke, and we surround ourselves with people who kind of feed off of collective success, right? So that's what you want to do.
You going to say, Royce?
yeah, I was just going to make a comment. I mean, couldn't be more proud of our community in that Iowa River Landing area and Nick Street Marina. We've held several events through different organizations, and every time it goes off without a hitch. And, you know, even with this new Diamond Road entry, I think that's going to expand on people wanting to visit the community. It makes it easier to get in and out, and with less backup on the interstate. Yeah, so yeah, thank you guys. You guys do an excellent job.
Awesome. Yeah, I
Thank
can't
you.
say enough good things about this about Josh and his team and all the folks there. They are juggernauts. I am always blown away every time I go to one of these events. Anytime there's something in the river landing, they really make it special. And I just am so impressed and amazed and appreciate everything you do. And I don't believe you on the Herkion Parade.
No, I'm going to retire before 10 years.
You'll be back. That was an experience.
If Kelly's here in 10 years, maybe, but
Okay.
I don't think he will be either.
I will tell you that you even made that, installing those Herkies, you even made that an event, an experience. That's something I'm never going to forget, being out in the dark, in the rain,
Yep.
in our ninja, the black clothing and the stuff under our, it was a whole operation there, and really exciting and fun to participate in that. So really special. Awesome. Any other final comments?
Yeah, just a question, or maybe could you just comment more? We have been seeing that Iowa City Area Sports Commission logo.
Yeah.
Like on all the news reports in the newspaper and so on. How did that come about? And what's the significance of that?
Yeah, well, we knew that sports was its own sort of bucket and market segment, and we really had tremendous opportunities in sports to open up for us after we successfully won the 2012 Olympic team trials for wrestling. And then we won 2016, and then we welcomed the world with the 2018 World Cup. And we had more and more people asking, wow, if you can do this, and I was open to letting you use the facilities, this is pre-arena, can we come bring our events? And so we really needed to move quickly in developing an organization and an effort, and so we hired Luke Eustace to come and run that. And then we developed the brand, and then at the same time, we're working on the arena, which is the shiniest toy in the entire toy box for these kind of events. And so we knew things were snowballing. And as CVBs were born out of chambers of commerce, sports commissions are born out of CVBs. And if you go look at the St. Louis Sports Commission or Columbus or Chicago, they all started as a department of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. So we thought it only prudent to have it be its own brand, its identity. Ultimately, they're responsible, I guess, to me and the board, but Luke runs that. And we really wanted to separate the two, and so we developed the Sports Commission logo. They have their own website, wegotnext.org, and it's worked really, really well. So anything attached to sports, we kind of lead with that. Anything conferences and meetings, we would lead with our other identities.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you all
so
very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Madam Mayor, I would like to ask council to consider a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented, A to double A.
All right, moved by Nguyen. Could I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Could I have the roll call, please?
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Kuhn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
The consent calendar is approved, all ayes. All right, next item, city administrator's report.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Okay. Mayor's report, I don't have much either. I just wanted to note that there are some additional openings on our boards and commissions. I mentioned this during the last meeting. We did have even another opening that came through on our Arts Commission. So we currently have 3 spots on our Arts Commission, and I believe a couple on, one on the Board of Adjustment as well. So just want to reiterate, if anybody is interested in applying, would highly encourage you to check out those applications. They are online, and I never remember the deadline. What is the deadline, Thor?
March 7th, Friday.
Okay. Excellent. So March 7th at 5 p.m. Please, if you're interested, get those applications in. And I do want to take a moment to address some of the comments that were made at the beginning of the meeting during community comment, in particular about the removal of civil rights that is happening here in the state of Iowa. Want to note that I was literally in the city attorney's office right before this meeting and have had multiple conversations with city staff and obviously deeply concerned about what we see happening. Everybody should be concerned about what is happening because this is egregious. It is an egregious attack on the trans community. And if you think they're going to stop with the trans community, you got another thing coming. This is, no matter who you are, no matter who you voted for, these issues, whether it is the removal of civil rights or anything else that is happening currently, it's gonna come and affect all of us one way or another. And essentially what is being argued currently, we have legislators that are essentially saying that we need to go back to separate but equal. That's what's happening, in addition to the attempted erasure of the trans community. So I do just want to note that this is something I care deeply about. Yes, I have been having conversations. Yes, I have been monitoring this situation. And I want to make it clear that the trans community is welcome in the city of Coralville. Trans people have the right to exist without being harassed or discriminated against or being the target of hatred. Trans people have always existed. Trans people will continue to exist even if this attack on their civil rights goes through. So I just wanted to note that, and I would encourage my colleagues to also get engaged on this issue. I know that that this is something that is of concern to my colleagues. I would also encourage the community to step up, because like the gentleman said during the comment, we need the community to start speaking up. In addition to the leaders, and it's also the community. We need to make it clear that what the values of this community are. So really encourage folks to get involved. I believe there is another hearing that is coming up on Thursday. I believe it's at 9:30 in the morning. I don't know if they're taking public comment, but if they are, would highly encourage folks to weigh in and contact your legislators and let them know how you feel on these issues. And that is all I have. City Attorney's report.
I have nothing.
Okay. Committee and council members report. Let's start down at this end with Councilmember Vogelsang.
I have nothing other than what I said earlier about supporting the CPR and AED program.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Councilmember Huynh.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So there's a couple things. First, I would like to let the community know that there is a free mobile clinic that's happening this Sunday from noon to 3 at the Coralville Public Library, and anybody can utilize that services. This time they have neurology and physical therapy, so if you can use any of that, please show up. Beside that, oftentimes they have just general checkup as well. They can also fill your prescription. They won't be able to give you a prescription, but they can fill it. If you have prescription that it's expired and you need it to be refilled, they can do that. I think they also have reading glasses as well. So if you need those, please come. It's going to be downstairs at the library, and any primary care is available. So please utilize the service. I know that the mobile clinic tried to come to the city of Coralville twice a month, one at the food pantry on a Saturday and one at the Coralville Public Library on a Sunday. So keep your eye out on the social media of both of the organization, and you'll learn more about that. I also wanted to note that where I work, the Coralville Community Food Pantry is in the process of getting training and also an AED to be installed where we're at, just in case if it's ever needed to be used. And we have it on our schedule to get all of our staff member and any volunteer that would like to get that training to be able to have that and to assist the public or anyone that suffer a heart attack. And I want to say that I can't speak for my colleague here, but I want to say that the people of Coralville put me here on the seat. And I am here representing all Coralvillian, whether you are from somewhere else, whether you just moved here, whether you have lived here for generations, however you identify yourself, that is up to you. That is your freedom. Our job here is to protect every single citizen and resident that live and work and play here in Coralville. So to the trans community, I see you, I hear you, and what is happening up on at the state level in the state of Iowa it's atrocious. There's attack coming from all levels. For me, as an immigrant, it's also be an attack. I know your fear. I know your fear when it comes to your own safety, when it comes to your kids' safety, when it comes to your own family safety. I know that fear personally. And no one should have to live with that fear. No one. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter the skin color of your skin. Doesn't matter how you identify yourself. We all should have the freedom to be who we are and not being afraid. So I'm urging each and every one of you, if you can be an ally to folks who are being threatened, please do so. If you see something that is unfair, unjust, please speak up. You have the power to do that. So be an ally. I will be an ally to any trans person out there that needed my help, that needed me to stand with them. And I'm asking for anyone that see an immigrant being discriminated again to stand up, to use your voice, to use your privilege and be a good ally. That is the only way that we are going to build a strong, welcoming, inclusive, and safe community. We all can do that. So please, check on your neighbors, check on your friends, check on the people that do not share the same political view as you. We are all neighbors. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Nguyen. Councilmember Peterson, what have you got?
Yeah, it's hard to follow that. But no, seriously, I spent the day in the Capitol today lobbying for labor issues. I was very surprised to see how many state troopers were there because of what's going on. I as well feel that everybody in this community in the United States should be treated equal. There shouldn't be anybody getting stripped of their rights, human rights. And, I stand with you and your community, and we are one community. So my thoughts are with you as well. I had a lot of people with me at the Capitol today. There was 50 of us, and we stand with you. So.
All right, thank you.
In agreement. I really appreciate what you've had to say tonight and what you have said. And I just want you to know over my sink in my kitchen, it says all are welcome here. And I believe that, and we'll continue to run Coralville. In what we can do here, we're nonpartisan, and we only have so many abilities and so much that we can do here in our city hall and so on. But we want everybody to know that they are loved and that we have concern for them. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate those comments. All right, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Nguyen. Could I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, folks. Do you want to come up?